Oh, hey, what's up? How's it going? Alton Darwin. Thank you for following. Oh yeah. Nam yo ho.
It's just us. It's just us hanging out. Which is fun. Which is good. And that's fine. For me. Ooh, surreal chemist, yeah. We're gonna get three-dimensional here. Okay. We're gonna make some fun stuff happen. Maybe I'll just give it a little more time. You know, let some other people fill in. I think that's the idea. How's everybody doing? A big bless. A big bless to my friends. To my friends on the chat. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, we're starting with this cube. Huh? You like the cube? Hey, do you like cube? Hey, do you like Cube? You ever seen the movie Cube? You ever seen Cube 2 Hypercube? 3D Space Bomb. Alright. While we're waiting, we can do that. We can make a bong. Gonna start with this, not a circle. A sphere. Start with the sphere. Beautiful. Beautiful sphere. Let's do this. Let's take off the top. I love listening to piano jazz. It's very new. It's very new for me. So we're gonna take off the top here. Beautiful. Probably this ring as well. Let's take them off, huh? Yeah, probably this ring as well. Just making a bong. I've not seen the movie Evil Bong. Is it good? It's probably good. Let's make it comically large. There we go. I like that. We can work with that. Alright. Let's grab the bottom. Same idea, right? Except we want faces. We want the faces, my friend. Yeah. Yeah. This too. Alright, so it's a little bit smaller than the top there. Grab edges. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Ooh, that's my jazz. Just want it to have a little lip there. Beautiful. Beautiful. Ooh, that's my jazz. Ooh. Just making this bong until maybe a couple more people get here. I don't know. Or if it's just us, that's fine too. But we will be doing some stuff that if people just like tune in kind of randomly, probably will not make a lot of sense. So. Alright. It's sort of bongular. But now the question is how to prepare the stem. Now I think one thing we can do here, we can just grab some faces, right? This seems to be dead center, so that's good. Let's make it bigger though. And that's my jazz. Okay, cool. So we got this. That's looking pretty good. We're gonna go to mesh. We're gonna go to transform. We're gonna go to sphere. Alright. So it's more like that. Cool. Cool. I like that. And then bring this out. When we're actually doing what we're doing today, I'll talk and we'll really get into it. We'll really, really get into it. Cool. So we'll use that. That's wrong, but we'll use it. Boom, boom, boom. Ooh, does anybody here like smoking bongs? One time when I was like 16, I smoked out of a 3-foot bong and I went to bed immediately. It was pretty funny. I don't know why I hit that bong. Why did I rip that bong, Mom? 'Twas not my bong. It was a friend's. And I was not much of a bonger then. And I don't smoke any weeds at all now. Because why would I? I never liked it that much. This looks kind of weird. It's fine though. Oh, you know what we should do here? Hold on. Let's do this the smart way, okay? Let us not be fools. Sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I could get stoned before bed. But that's about it. And you know what I do? You know what I do instead of drugs for sleep? If you just exercise during the day, you sleep so good. That's something people don't tell you about exercise. The sleep is phenomenal. Boom. Okay, that's good. Liking this. Liking this. Fantastic. That was kind of bad. Not my best work here. You know why? This needs to come up, huh? This bottom edge. So maybe I won't smooth that out yet. Boom. That's my jazz. That's my jazz. You know, normally when you do this kind of work too, you should have some kind of a reference. I don't have a reference. But that's fine. Still looks kind of funny. Now I got all this. A bling blong blong. Whatever. It's kind of a funny bong. And the bass probably would not hold it up. But we're going to work on something that I actually have prepared. And you know what? There's enough people here now for me to do that. Real quick, though. Gotta add a lip to your bong, my friend. Am I right? Am I right to add a lip to this? Wow. There we go. Look at that. Nice clean lip to your bang. For your bang. What are you, smoking grass out of that bang? Ooh, look at that. Ooh, now that's nice, huh? Maybe if we just add a lip to the stem, it'll look okay. Let's find out. You know, we can do that very easily with an inset, okay? Or actually, no, we would just have to move it. We would just have to boink it down, but it's the easiest way to do that. Since it's diagonal, okay, you know what? We will inset it. We'll go like that. And then we're going to have to do this on the normal axis. Kind of. Close enough for me. Can move it up that way. Not quite. I think maybe it just needs to get like smaller in the middle. Yeah. Kind of. It's just too square. I just started with it too square. Really what you should do is just put a cylinder in here. You know what I mean? It does look like the drinking bird thing. Gravity bongs are fucked up, man. And it was like such a thing when I was in high school, like to make smoking devices. I'm sure it has always been a thing in high school. It's just not into it. I'm not really a drug guy. I don't know. I like alcohol, I like weed, but not really that much. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. It's nice sometimes, but I'm not really that into it. That's closer. But it is just too square. I would need to add, you know, maybe something there, maybe something there, some more geometry so that we could make this more round. And we'll see if we can do that now. This mesh transform to sphere option is like saved my life in so many situations. People just like shit to be round, and you need a certain amount of vertices to make it round. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's kind of better. I don't know. It should just be a cylinder sticking out of it is the reality. It looks all pinched and fucked up. Anyway, there's a bong for you, my friend. Yeah, high school. Okay, let's fucking get down to business here, all right? I'm not joking around, you clowns. We're gonna make some 3D shit, and you're gonna like it. And we're all gonna listen to this jazz. I'm starting the jazz over because... Oh wait, actually no, it's 10 hours of jazz. I love jazz. I love jazz. All right, we're gonna make crystals, okay? This is a fun thing to make because it's so easy and it's so useful, and it will help to understand processes of 3D modeling. So, should I say the keys I'm pressing as well? I'll mention them. We won't spend a lot of time on that, but I'll just mention them, okay? That's a full day's worth of jazz. Oh, I gotta follow. Oh. Okay. Shift A, we add a cylinder, all right? And before you go and you do anything you shouldn't do, you're gonna notice a little menu pops up here in the lower left about your cylinder, okay? One important thing is to have generate UVs on. It's semi-important, I kind of lied, but it's helpful. The other thing we want to do is we want a much simpler cylinder. I think we want a hexagon cylinder. You feel me? So you lower the vertices to 6. The radius, the depth, that's all very easy to adjust later, so maybe let's just make this like 8. It's pretty big. How about 6? Make it 6. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Okay, cool. So now, as soon as you click, that menu goes away, and I don't think you can get it back. So that's why, when you make a new thing, always check the menu, okay? It's just good to do. So now we've got this, and as you may notice, I mean, this already, you could get away with perhaps some selenite in this form, okay? Well, let's take a look at it in edit mode. You press tab to go into edit mode, all right? We got this. Let's add some pointy tips, all right? So, if you go to face select mode, select this top face. Under the face menu, there's something called poke faces. I love poking faces, okay? Pre-pandemic, I used to poke faces day and night. So anyway, poke that face. What does poke faces do? Well, it adds a vertex in the center of the face, and it connects it to the vertexes that originally composed that face's boundaries. Okay? I gotta clear my throat real quick. You could Reiki so many fucking dogs with this, dude. Cool, so now we've got that face in the middle, or that vertex in the middle. Just select that vertex, move it up, and you can just eyeball that. Sometimes it's good. You know, a good thing to do in these programs is to do things in standardized increments. So if you press G, that's for grab, and then you press 1, and then you press Z or Z. Now we've just moved that up 1 unit. And so that's now a 1/6 of the height that we had, and I think that's good. And I think especially for things like crystals, let's keep our math straight, and that also helps to keep this symmetrical if we wanted to add another point down here. What I will do, I will poke this face just to keep things nice. You know what I'm saying? But now these are triangles, okay? We're not big fans of triangles in 3D. You always want them to be groups of 4. You want quads. You want squares and rhombuses and shit and Lady Gaga. Poke faces. But we can leave this because this will be on the bottom. And you say to mine, you say, but what about the top? That's triangles too. You smoky boy, what are you, stoned? I say, no, papa, I don't touch the grass. Okay, we're gonna fix this. How are we gonna fix this? Well, we look at our crystal now and you think, yeah, all right, that's fine. You know, you can, if you hold Alt and you click this edge loop, you think, okay, that's fine. Yeah, we can move that around even to make it a different shape. Make it like an obelisk or some shit. Cool. We can work with this. But this is boring, my friends. Let's add some character to this. using, and the jazz will help me here, using the Vertex Bevel, okay? And that's Control B for bevel, or at least it used to be. I don't think, this is a new version of Blender, and I think it has different key bindings. Or no, yeah, it is. So, Control B, this will bevel an edge for ye, which I can give you an example. So if we are in edge mode, we select this edge, Control B, and then you pull out, we're now beveling the edge, okay? And that's cool too. That's a good thing to do sometimes. That can add a lot of detail. But what we want to do is we want to select a single vertex, Control B for bevel, and then if you press V, we're now beveling a single vertex, okay? And this is helpful because now up here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices on this face. Okay, very nice. We love it. And we also have this like kind of, it looks like it's like chipped now. So that's cool. All right, we like that. One problem, now this face has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not good. But hey, guess what? Very easy fix, and we'll fix it later. Okay, but for now, let's just focus on how this looks. And let's keep beveling vertices. You know, you can double bevel. Hey, watch me. I'll even triple bevel, okay? Beautiful. Beautiful. Look at that. Just look at it, my friends. And hey, while we're here, let's just add some kind of a dumb default material to this. Maybe make it kind of like a dark red. Let's go for like a purple, actually. All right. Hold down Z. Go material preview. Wow, look at that. Wow, look at that. Ooh. You know what I'm saying? So now we can kind of see what we're doing. Because the main thing here is how is this going to reflect light? You know? We can make it look more like a crystal if we go down here on this menu and bump the transmission up. Looks more glassy now. Beautiful stuff. And let's continue to bevel these faces. I'm going to bevel this top one. And you might not like it. And I might not like it either. But I'm going to do it. Then guess what? I'm going to rotate it. Beautiful stuff. Ooh. Here, I'm going to make it a little different. I'm going to grab this vertex. And if you press G twice, you can slide it along edges that already exist. Hey, wow, cat. So that's nice. We like this. And then you click to put it where it is. Nice. It's just slightly more interesting now. We're working with some different shapes. It looks like it's been through something. You want your 3D objects to tell a story. So let's continue. Again, using this vertex slide method. GG. Move that down. Move that way down. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff. Okay, and now that I look at this, this one looks a little bit too uniform, so let's slide this over. Love it. Oh, indeed. Oh, indeed. Cool. Yeah, I think this is... whatever. It looks cool. For our first one, yeah, joke's on you. We're making multiple. Yeah, it's a dark crystal. I think it looks good. You know? We've just got one little light here in our scene right now. But in the material preview mode, you can see, yeah, it's pretty cool. Looking pretty cool. Ooh, that's nice. So cool. So I'm not going to worry about things being the correct numbers or whatever too much right now, because we can kind of deal with that as it becomes a problem. Because for these simple shapes, you know, it's probably not going to be a big deal. One thing I will do is I will bevel the whole thing. Okay? And we want this to be teeny tiny. So that's in modifiers, bevel. We're going to make that 0.01, and we're going to add 4 segments. So this is going to add a little highlight to our edges here. Right click it, go shade smooth. Ooh, that's nice. Maybe, yeah, I think that's good. Maybe 2 segments, I don't know. Ooh, oh yes. So I think that's good. So if you bevel and then you add the subdivision surface, that's going to make it nice and smooth, but it will also show us where our issues are. But you know what? For now, we don't need the subdivision surface. This is good enough for me. You know? I think it'll reflect light. The edges will have a nice highlight to them. Whatever. We can mess with that as we go. There's many different ways to bevel stuff, you know what I'm saying? But I think right now, got a pretty cool crystal. So, let's make it look better, huh? I'm really quickly gonna add a background to it. Let me actually drag this out here really fast while I explore my files. Right, adding an environment texture. Ooh, we love it. We'll put it in the desert, I guess. We can change the environment later. But then we'll go here to this camera thing, go to film, transparent. So now we've got some pretty realistic daytime outdoor lighting that we're looking at right now. We're in rendered mode. Let's add the ambient occlusion. Let's add the screen space reflections. Pretty cool. Pretty cool crystal, but it looks a little bit boring. So let's get into some shading now, my friends. Okay. We'll go to the material preview once again. That's good. We want maybe a side showing with some light here. Ooh. We're going to drag this corner, split our view. Normally I would do this on 2 monitors for myself. Whoa! We're going to go to the shader editor. And you click on this. And so this is our material right now. I say, cool, fine. But you'll notice that sometimes crystals have these like horizontal scratches on them. So we're going to add those scratches right now with some texturing, my friends. Shift A, texture. Give me noise texture. Now, there's an add-on that comes with Blender. It's called Nodewrangler. You're going to want Nodewrangler. And with Nodewrangler on, if you press Control and Shift and click something in the shader editor, you'll just view that thing. So here's our noise texture. And so if we were to plug this into the roughness, okay, cool, you know, that's rough now. I'm a rough man. I say great. If you click on this noise texture, press Control T, now we can control how this is projected onto our object. And that's nice. And I think we have UVs enabled. Let's go up to the UV tab and see if we indeed do. We do, but they're fucked up. So if you press U, Smart UV Project, get something a lot less fucked up. We're going to want that. Okay. Back to the default layout. So now we're using the UV in the mapping. We've got this nice noise, this cloudiness here. We can keep that. We can use that later. Yes, okay. It is like a mask in Photoshop. And we're going to talk, that's a great way to think about things. And we're going to keep thinking about things like that. But so what we've got here, I should explain this more. I'm glad you said this, Surreal Chemist. So we've got here is a noise texture, and you'll notice that we've got white and black and gray, a lot of gray here. So you can think of these as values between 0 and 1. 0 being the black, 1 being the white. And so we're plugging this into the roughness, right? If I were to get rid of this, you'll see that the roughness is a value between 0 and 1. So we plug this texture in, the factor, into roughness, and now we've got a value between 0 and 1 for what's rough and what's not. And so one thing we can do that we'll do a lot here, we will press Shift-A, go to Converter, and Color Ramp. And so now you see this has a gradient between black and white. As you drag it, it's between 0 and 1. Let's drop this down here. Okay. View just what it's doing with the Control-Shift click. And now as I move these closer together, we've got more contrast. You see this? Wow, beautiful stuff. So now, parts of it are very reflective, parts of it are very rough, but there's more contrast between the two, right? And you can move that either way. Or let's put more contrast, but let's say we don't want anything to be completely reflective. You can change the black to gray. So now it ranges between very rough and kind of rough. And you can move them closer together and you'll be able to see these shapes even more, right? So that's just to illustrate how that works. We will keep this one at completely 0. And we'll move over here and we'll just look at our noise texture. And let's do something a little bit fun with it, huh? In this mapping node, let's scale it on one axis. So we're stretching it out on the y-axis. So now we've just got a bunch of dumb, random horizontal lines, okay? In our color ramp, same thing. We can make them a little bit more defined, perhaps, but I'll leave it where it is. So now if we view what we're actually doing, we've got something that looks like scratches across. And in this noise, we can scale that up to make it smaller. I'm kind of into that. We can add some detail. I like that. We don't have to have it super detailed. They'll be very small. Which part of this gave us the super mirror reflective effect? So that's in your default shader, this principled BSDF. That's roughness. So you can set your roughness to 0. There's no roughness, so that's like a mirror. We've got just an environment for lighting here. We can get rid of those reflections later. And then if you moved your roughness all the way to 1, completely rough, right? But so we're using a texture to determine which parts of this are at 0 and which parts are at 1. So now we've got these like scratches on it. But obviously we don't want it all to be scratched, okay? That would be crazy. And then another thing, in this noise texture, you've got these settings too, right? So scale, we can make them very big scratches, we can make them small, we can add detail. Roughness is more about like the easing between 0 and 1, I think. We can have that like halfway up. And there's distortion, which makes them like all squiggly, which we are not going to be using. So I'll set that to 0. So, okay, so now with this mask concept in mind, let's talk about how we can decide where there are scratches and where there are none, okay? This is our question now. So, I'm gonna go to the UV editing thing, and a UV just determines, it lets you wrap an image around a 3D object. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go to Image, and we're gonna go to New, and we're gonna call this the Scratch Mask, okay? Beautiful. 1024 by 1024 pixels is fine. Color, black, fine. Alpha, yeah, cool. Okay. So now we have this completely black image, and we're going to paint on our crystal with white for where we want the scratches to show up. So I'm going to go back to layout, and one thing you do have to do in your shader editor, you have to add this image in. So that's a texture, image texture, and then you can just select scratch mask. Fantastic. And you click on it, and so now we're going to be able to edit that. And so there's a texture paint mode already here. Beautiful. We love it. So let's mess around with that, okay? We've got a brush here, got the color picker. We just want white because we're painting on an all black thing. Cool, you've got your radius, your strength, all that. So, and I think if you hold Shift and click, no, if you press F, you can change the size of your brush, just like this. So let's just put some right here. We'll just have some scratches show up right here. Just a little blob. Beautiful, and you see it shows up here. We love it. Excellent. You can also change settings up here, by the way. So let's go back to the layout and let's make this do something, because right now it's just sitting here. So remember, here we've got our group that's making the scratches. Here we've got the shader that is being told what to do by our textures and the different values we put in for the color and whatnot. And here we've got our mask. So there's a few different ways to do this. The way that I will do right now is I'll go Shift A, color. Let's go mix RGB. So this is for mixing textures and colors together. I'm going to put this in here, and then we're going to have our mask here. And now remember that our mask is also, and right away you can see something going on. Remember that our mask is also just completely black and white, right? So if I Control Shift click this, we've got just our mask. Control Shift click this, we've got just our scratches. Control Shift click this, we've got the two together. Now you can see there's still scratches all over, and that's because this is set to mix. We're going to set this to multiply, and we're going to drag it all the way to 1. So now, just where I draw on my image texture, we're going to have scratches. So if we go ahead, we view our final shader here. Look at that. Now, this looks dumb. This looks bad. So let's fix that. Let's go back to texture paint mode up here. And let's make this look a little bit more natural, because right now it's got some pretty defined edges. You can see there's some fall off, but it's pretty defined. So let's add a texture to our brush. You come down here, you go to texture, click new, go to the texture menu. You can see here it says brush and texture. Let's do clouds. Add a texture to it. Go to colors, add a ramp. This way we can, in the same way as we were doing before, we can control the contrast between the white and black. Let's make it pretty contrasty here, because I don't like that. Go back to our brush settings up here, this wrench and screwdriver. So now we've got a texture on our brush, see? Wow. We're painting on there, that's a texture. I love that. Couple things, okay? Mapping, we want random. This means that each time I draw, it's creating a new cloud texture for me to draw with. We like this. And so that's accumulating, that's cool. Love it. But right now I'm just painting on top of this and adding some gray. I kind of want it more to just take away from the edges. I just kind of want to eat away at the edges here. So I'm going to go to, I think that's under advanced or color palette so I'm drawing with this texture and it's white and black. Here there's the blend mode. What's up? What's up, P?
What's up, P? What's up, P?
Making a crystal with my cowards. Go ahead and set that to multiply as well. And so now, you see when I draw on the black part, nothing's coming up. But when I draw on the white part, we're getting my texture, and it's kind of eating away at the edges here. We like this. So let's go ahead and press F, make our brush kind of big. Let's just kind of eat away at the edges here. And then even in the middle, let's add some grime, okay? And so now, go back to the layout, and look at that. We've added some scratches and some kind of grime to this part of the crystal. And I think it looks good. So if we look at what we've done here, we've got this as our texture. I would say I kind of don't want everything else to be totally black, even after we finish with our mask. Because remember, totally black means totally shiny, which I'm not super into. So let's once again, let's add a gradient to it, and that way we can just control what is the darkest part of the image and what is the brightest part. Converter, color ramp, put that in here. And so, if we look at what that's doing, we can make the darkest parts just kind of gray, which is, if we click on it, we can see that the value, oh yeah, it's right here. So now we're working with a value of 0.235. All right, so that's still pretty shiny. Let's move it up a little bit more, make it a little more rough. And remember, we'll adjust this. But I think that's looking a lot better. So now let's just kind of go nuts with the mask, adding the scratches in. And if you don't like your scratches, go in here and mess with them, you know? Maybe you want them to be bigger. Maybe you want them to be smaller. Add some more detail. Go nuts. You know, maybe you want to scale them up in a different way. Add just like some grime like that or something. It's all good. So again, indeed it is like masks in Photoshop. And that's what we're working on here. We're working on a mask. And there, you know, there's just tons of ways to do this, and this is where it's just, what do you want it to look like? You know what I'm saying? I am going to, so yeah, okay. I'll change the blend mode back to mix. Make my brush a little bit smaller. Let's just add just like a little bit down here. You know what, man? There's some new nodes that I don't know about. This is a new version of Blender that I actually have not goofed with much, and I need to get on that. Ooh. See what this is looking like. I mean, I think it's okay, but it's just more looking more like grime than it is scratches. So I might have to actually take this texture off here. Let's just kind of go nuts. I want this side to be all scratched up. And then put the texture back on. Then make it multiply and just do the edges here. Ooh. There's like geometry nodes now, which is a new thing. Are you goofing? Cool, let's take a look at what that's like. I think that's pretty cool. So you know what we could do? We could probably just leave this how it is for now, because I think we can move on to the next part. So we've got a crystal. Really quick, I'm going to make some more crystals. So up here, I'll name this crystal 0.001. That's like the Blender numbering system is with 3 digits. So cool. Shift D. We'll move it over. So now see, it automatically numbers it. So that's cool. Okay. Let's alter this one a little bit. We'll do the Vertex Bevel thing again here. Make that like that. Grab this one, press G twice, move that way down. What else? Let's bevel. Let's make the top different. The top is a pretty characteristic part of your crystal. Let's do that. Make it look kind of weird up there. Move that up. That looks like I fucked something up. So that doesn't really want to move. That's fine. Maybe I'll move this up too. I think that was probably too extreme of a movement. And then now that's wrong. I think I need to go back to global. Here we go. Oh, so it's going along the different edges here that I've already set. But that's fine. Oh no, I'm fucking this up. This is good enough for this one. It looks kind of weird. I'm into that. And then let's also just make it smaller. We're going to make a bunch of crystals is what we're doing here. So let's make this one short and fat. Cool. Love it. And then let's do another one. Cool. And so they all only have one side painted. And so if you wanted to make them all different, you're going to have to set up different masks, different images, all that stuff to make them all look nice. But we're just going to move along here to our next thing. Do you get me? Do you get me? Get me? Get me? What should we do with this one? Let's make the top different, of course. I will bevel this. Great. Move that. This maybe we can move that down. You know, these are supposed to look glassy and kind of weird, so messing with them and having some like weird artifacts isn't necessarily a bad thing, you know. Cool, that's got a chunk missing there. We can also put like a line around the oh, actually no, I probably shouldn't do that. I don't know, whatever, good enough for me. And we'll make this one small like this. Teeny tiny. So this is our crystal gang. Okay. And so right now they're all set up with the same material, so if we change the color, you know, you get that change globally. Same with the whole mask thing. But anyway, so these are crystals, so I'm going to go up here, going to get rid of the camera, and we're going to name this collection Crystals. Beautiful. And then we can hide it, so we don't see those no more. I don't like you no more.
Right.
So we've got a new collection, and I'm going to call this The Rock. Beautiful. I watched that movie Fighting with My Family the other night. It wasn't very good. So let's make a rock. There's a few different ways to make rocks. There's an add-on called Rock Generator. Pretty cool. That looks alright. I'm looking for something that's kind of flat on top. Okay. And maybe not as... It can be kind of round. This could kind of work. Detail level, we don't need it to be super detailed. We're going to add the detail. Smooth factor. I'm looking for something smooth. They have presets here actually too, and I think that the ice one worked for me in the past. Let's just just play with settings until you get something you like. Almost. That's kind of cool. Yeah. I'm very particular about rocks. This is fine. This'll do. Look at the geometry of it. It's just like this because these are made with modifiers. So if you click the wrench, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. What a fantastic career. He started out as a wrestler and now he's just like everywhere. Ooh. So the cool thing with modifiers in this new version is you can press Control A to apply them. We just want to apply all of them. So now our rock looks like this. Beautiful. Okay. That's what we want. But let's go to the front view. Let's turn it over. I want it to be kind of more like that. Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's great. Hey.
I like this rock. I like this rock.
They're minerals, Murray. Cool. So, let's shade this rock. I love shading. Shading is my favorite part. So let's make this rock look kind of cool. I'll try to pick up the speed a little bit here too. New material. Name it rock. Great. So, over here, we're in material preview mode. Beautiful. So like last time, let's use a noise texture to drive what's going on here. So if you plug this noise texture straight into the color, you get this. And that's fun. And maybe that's what you want. So you can stop there. But me, I'm going to use this noise texture as a mask this time. So we'll keep that on standby. And let's make this look like a rock. Let's make it kind of blue. Dark blue. That looks like a rock. Looks good to me. Pretty rough. Want it pretty rough. Cool. All right. Fantastic. Let's make another rock material. So get your principled BSDF. Let's make another rock. Kind of brown. For like a... Can be kind of a light. Maybe more like that. Okay, cool. So we've got two rock materials. Let's press Shift A, get a mix shader here. Let's mix the two together. So you plug one into the one shader thing, you plug another one into the other, and you can see that looks dumb as hell. But in this factor, if we use the noise texture as the factor, we now have two colors mixed together according to this noise texture. So if we Control T, we have a little bit more control over the noise texture. That's good. We like that. So we can up the scale. That looks like a rock to me. Let's add some detail. Wow. Looks like a rock. And let's make the darker material shiny. Beautiful. Ooh. A little too shiny. Ooh. Beautiful stuff. I love my rock. But let's do something else. So there's this other slot in the material output called displacement. So let's go ahead under vector, add displacement. And then let's use this same noise texture to drive the height. of the displacement. All right. So now this has got some texture on this baby, but it looks bad. So you're going to move the scale down. Because we want like little tiny bumpiness. And that's kind of what this looks like. And it's fine. But again, let's get a little more control over this converter. Color ramp as always. And blast that in line with your displacement. Ooh. So now, the closer we move this to white, the less extreme it's going to be, right? Look at that. Look at that in the light. Ooh. That's looking like a rock to me, my friends. So remember, the darker part is shinier, and the darker part is also what's jutting out from the rock right now. And to me, that's nice. Oh. Ooh, my friends. Look at this rock. Oh, my friends. Oh! Oh! So, let's make these crystals grow out of this rock, huh? Beautiful stuff. So let's go into solid mode. Click on your rock. Click on this weird little thing. Particles. Beautiful. So as in its default settings, it's just going to shoot orbs. And if that's what you want, stop watching here. Let's listen to jazz and watch a rock shoot orbs. Beautiful stuff. Oh, I love it. Okay. So, particle settings. Let's make it hair. Whoa! Again, if this is what you like, you're welcome. Number set to 1,000. I'm going to go ahead and say that if I make 1,000 crystals, my computer might crash. Yes, that is more useful for the bong. So we got 10 hairs. Okay, cool, whatever. Let's go down to render. It says render as path. That's bullshit. Collection, my friends. Collection. Which collection? Crystals. Ooh, now we got crystals coming out of a rock, huh? Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff, my friends. So we're gonna want I want to go to use count. So now we can control how many of each rock, what's the distribution, you know? And so crystal 1 was our biggest one. And so we want less of that. We want more of the teeny tiny ones. So in this count thing here, there it is. Make that like 2. Beautiful. Object scale, we want that. Object rotation, I don't know. Or you can always go pick random. That works too. So, now what we need to do is, you notice how these are just like laying on top of it? This is something that I probably should have fixed at the beginning, okay? But we're going to fix it now. Don't look at your rock. Look at your crystals. And we need to move this orange dot down to the bottom. So, edit mode, vertex mode, select this vertex that we did with the poke face earlier, and you're going to go Shift S, cursor to selected. So now we have our cursor down here. Get out of edit mode, go object, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. So now if we were to rotate this, it's going to rotate around this point. And that's what we want. And unfortunately, we got to do this to all of these because I didn't do it to the first one, and I fucked up, guys. I'm really sorry. Cursor to selected, out of edit mode, object, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. I'm about to end this trial. Okay. Edit mode, select this vertex out of edit mode, object, set origin, origin to 3D cursor. I missed a step in there. We got to put the cursor to selected. There we go. Now we can do it. Origin to 3D cursor. Okay, beautiful. So they all have origin points at the bottom. Don't look at your crystals, look at your rock. So now you can see they're more or less all sticking out from the bottom. They're all aligned here. But we've still got work to do, right? So, scale. Let's scale them down so we can really see what we're doing. Scale randomness just for fun. Okay, beautiful. Show emitter, we want that. Object rotation. So, as you can see, they're all facing this way, right? They're oriented along the rock, but they're all faced this way. So we're going to do, look at your crystals. They're big. We're going to select all of them. Beautiful. And let's rotate them on the Y 90 degrees. Then here, make sure object rotation is on. Beautiful. Now they're all sticking out of this rock. Congratulations. You've made something kind of weird. So, next thing. I just want them on the top. I just want it to look like they all crystallized on the top of this thing. So let's do that. So, we're going to do that with this field weights thing. There's going to be a density. There should be density somewhere. So we can choose which vertices are going to be growing crystals. Ooh, and that's my jazz. So Vertex Groups density. Here we go. So tab. Let's just view from the top. Beautiful. Go to the vertex menu. We're going to add a vertex group. And we're going to name this dense. Okay? You can name it whatever you want. Then I'm going to press B. I'm going to select those vertices just on top. Maybe less. Maybe I want less, so I'm going to press C, hold Shift, paint some of these out. I really do just want it on the top. And that's my jazz, my friends. Cool. I think this will do. Yeah, I just messed up. We can change it later. That's all good. So then we're going to assign those vertices to dense. All right. So there's our vertex group. Beautiful. Back in particle settings. Ooh, density? Dense. So now they're only growing out of the top. And I love it. We can make that a little bit smaller later. That's fine. Let's go to hair shape. Let's not. There's a setting in here for like clumping. Oh yeah, there's a clump thing there. So that's cool. Let's have more. Pretty cool. I like it. I like it. Advanced, would it be under? There's a setting somewhere for like clumping. Because I feel like crystals would kind of clump, you know. So let's go ahead. Let's go to the setting object scale. We want that. Crystal 03 was the tiny one. We want many of those. I'm into that. Less of crystal 2. Pretty cool. Maybe none of crystal 2. Let's just have like tiny ones and big ones. Be less. Let's do this. go down. Or I guess, I don't know. You know, one cool way to do this actually would be have the crystals open. Well, maybe not. Anyway. This is my hair. So then mess around with it, you know? And I kind of want the size to be like more extreme. And of course, if you were going to make this look really good, you would do more than just 3 crystal variations. You know what I'm saying? Let's make those pretty small. Let's make those pretty small. Let's make this big. Mess around with the size. And I just got these big ones and these like super, super tiny ones. Mess with the seed. You know? Something weird. Let's go into rendered mode. Yeah, it looks kind of dumb with all those big ones. I gotta make those smaller. I think that's the big one. Yeah, that's the big one. And then, yeah, we should make these bigger. Just a bit, though. Oh, we have none of that one, so go back into your menu. Hey, Crystal 2. You're back in the party. Cool. I like that. These ones are super tiny. I'm going to make them a little bit bigger. I think that's cool. You know, you can always add differences in color and stuff based on the particle system. So we could always do that. We can add some scale randomness. A little less, actually. Tiny bit. You can just mess with the scale directly here. Fun stuff. You know? Beautiful. Field weights. Yeah, we could mess with some stuff like that. I'm just trying to think what would make this look better. I think this is all right for what I wanted to show how to do it, you know. Can randomize the velocity here so they're all kind of sticking out in weird directions. That's cool. I'm into that. So let's make them different colors. So if we go back into the shader editor. Ooh, yeah. So this is our rock. We want to select one of the crystals. And so in this color, we can put in Shift A. I think there's input, particle info. Let's do, I think just index. And then, so let's make our color palette here. So if you go converter color ramp, if you set one color, this is a fun trick. If you set one color at red, other end at blue, and then you go HSV, you get a nice rainbow. And so this is controlling how it determines which particles are which color. I'm going to put in random, and then I think we need to squeeze this together. I think that's how this works. Or perhaps not. Let's try location. Let's try size. So they're all red. Let's flip it. Ooh, yeah. I'm doing this wrong. Kind of forgot. I think, or maybe it's not particle info, maybe it's object info. Let's try that. Input. Object info. Random. There we go. Cool. These are some pretty wacky ass colors. Let's maybe make them a little darker. Jewels. Jewels on a rock. Let's see if we can make a render of this that looks halfway decent. I'm also going to make the lightest part of the rock darker. All right. Let's just see if we can render something. So, and this is also in the Eevee render engine, which is more like a game engine. See what it looks like in the big boy engine of Cycles. Cycles calculates light differently. So I think in Cycles you would want those colors to be a bit more vibrant. In the crystal. And we'll do a Cycles render because it'll look better. Cool. So let's add a camera. Let's see what our camera sees. Currently nothing. Press N, go to view, camera, lock the camera to the view. You can kind of pan around. There's our stuff. Beautiful. Right, yeah, this is the ray tracing engine. I don't know. Whatever. This is a silly image. I'm not crazy about the lighting from this image that I have hooked up, so let's get rid of that actually. And let's set up our own lighting. Like big boys. There is a thing here. If you Shift A, you can go light, generate 3-point lights, which is nice. I like that. So here's our backlight. Here's our key light. So let's make that bright as hell. Right. And then you can grab all of them and you can make them look like, we'll make them a little bit closer. So that's cool. Okay. Fill light. I actually want the backlight to be just like blasting. Because we put those cool edges on these. And I want that to come through. You know, so there's this ray tracing engine. One cool thing about the more video game engine, Eevee, is it has this bloom setting that adds this like glow around your light. You can do that later in compositing in the big boy engine. So I think we'll just do that. Let's just see, where is our coolest thing. So let's go into the camera settings, make that look cool. Let's make this wide. No, I don't know, like 40, focal length of 40 is probably cool. It's probably cool, yeah. Maybe it's all a little too bright. You know. Key light's blasting. Just do it mostly backlit. Color. Add a little bit blue. I don't know. We can oh, we can make this wide. All right. So yeah, camera settings. Gots to do the depth of field, and then if you go viewport display, you can show limits, which is what it's focusing on. Currently the focus is way out here. Let's bring that up here. Should be nice, or maybe, I don't know, around there. There's our depth of field. Yeah, f-stop 2.8. Cool. I think this will all be fine. Let's see what we got here, okay? Yeah. You just watch it render. You know? Just a test. Let's just see what we're working with. I think it faces yeast. I'm not totally getting what I want from the depth of field here. You know what, too? I think it just needs a different lighting setup. You really do need, like, just a light, just blasting on it from the back. So I'm going to move this. To the back and, like, lower. Yeah, we need something like that. And then, so now the key light can be brighter, I think. I think they were just sort of interfering with each other before. And maybe if we make this, like, kind of red. Like a little purplish or something, I don't know. Make that bigger. Ooh. That's good. Just make your lights bigger. Change that more to like 1,000. So now it's like a huge light, which I think is good. Key light. Just a little bit more, I guess. That's cool. All right, that's good. So I gotta figure out the depth of field. I don't know what's going on. I have that enabled. I just need to change the aperture. Ooh, I don't know. This is what we're dealing with. It's cool. It's something. Something wacky. If I put the f-stop to like 1. I don't know why. The depth of field just isn't working on that. Kind of weird. Or am I not? I got 2 cameras going, my friends. That's why. Or are these just different settings? Indeed, they are just different settings. I have 1 camera going. What? Does the back look cooler now? Kind of does. Let's make the key light a little bit blue as well. I don't know. I guess this is cool. We can't always just rotate it if we think that's cooler, but it's just kind of blown out. This is a little more drama. All right. Render this. Render me this. And so this was using no pre-made textures. This is all procedural. There we go. I'm getting that depth of field now, my friends. I always feel like what I'm making looks like shit until I actually render it out. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's pretty cool. We're using a low amount of samples here and no denoising So that's what that fuzz is, but this isn't taking long to render. So that's fine. I don't know what this... Oh, okay, so that's our crystal, our big crystal. Cool. So all we got to do in these crystals, just got to uncheck that, I think. And it should not be in our thing anymore. And so let's do more samples. You know. Hey. Thanks. Let's do like, let's just double the samples. I don't feel like using a denoiser. That's a whole fucking mess. I think this looks cool. Let's add some volumetrics. Let's add some like fog, which is something that you could composite in later. But I feel like you just might as well do it the real way. It'll cost us a lot in rendering time, but I figure we're just fucking hanging out, so whatever. So we're gonna make a cube. Okay. Make it encapsulate everything. Can make it kind of big. Oh, that looks kind of cool, actually. Putting our crystal in a white cube. So he's got light bouncing around. That's kind of sweet. But anyway, we've got our cube. Let's shade it. Ooh, I love shading. Cool. So let's go new. It's a cube. We actually want to go Shift S to make this into principled volume. Good stuff. And then we want to add a noise texture. We want that to drive the, I think the color. I always forget if it's color or density. But so, there we go. Again, with the color ramp, bullshit. I have seen pictures where people are trying to sell tea kettles and they don't have pants on, and it's in the reflection. So converter color ramp. So now we can put a lot of, we're making fog here. So if I were to control shift the noise texture, it's probably kind of hard for you to see. Hold on, let me make this bigger over here. Cool. So up the scale of our fog, add some distortion. Maybe we can move this down a little bit if we're adding distortion. Cool. Let's check out what we got. Ooh, and it's foggy now, my friends. Look at that. That's kind of cool and kind of stupid. I dig it. So again, so here's just being blasted with fog. Here's some contrast. Now this fog is only going to show up where our lights are blasting. So let's say if I turn off this key light. Nah, I need the key light. Turn off this backlight. Nah, I need the backlight. Can probably lose the fill. Just trying to think of ways to make this maybe a little bit less extreme. Let's make the foggiest parts not that foggy. We can also, we don't have to render this with alpha either. You know, I would just fix what I don't like about this in compositing. So I think that's fine. Yeah, let's see what this looks like. Render this image for me, my boy. Let's see what we got. want this to look like a picture of an item from Mortal Kombat. You know what I mean? We're going to be here a while, but I actually love watching shit render. Very relaxing. One tile at a time. Ooh, this tile's almost done. Looking good. Ooh. You can see maybe there's some bullshit in here, but we could fix that later. More samples, a denoiser. You can see too, like this could look a little bit more detailed, which we could do in various ways. Just we could bake it to an image and make that a big image or something, like make it a 4K texture. We're going to end up with lots of these little dots from the lighting, which again, you can denoise those out. And so, of course, if we were going to really finish this, we would paint more of the like scratch mask. We'd make the textures a higher resolution. We would do more samples. You know, we could also make this look good in the real-time engine, and that's fine. But ray traced stuff always looks a little more real, which I'm into for the sake of this. Does anybody have any questions or any other, I don't know. Maybe next time I will just make a bong, I don't know. Can do some bong practice. This was like very basic modeling stuff, which I know is what people were a little more interested in. But I'm more into like the shading, and I like how you can make stuff without like really modeling it. You can use modifiers, you can even use nodes to make stuff look different. So this is like a more realistic render. We can stylize it more using different shading methods and stuff. But I think it looks pretty cool for the amount of time we spent. What, it's been like an hour, a little over an hour. I think, yeah, there's, you know, could make this look like less cartoony, could make the crystal colors, you know, more realistic. You could just add more shit going on. You could put like some moss. Could put some moss on this. You could put some moss up in this ass. As you can see too, there's kind of some staticiness with the fog, volumetrics, you know, that adds a lot in terms of like render time to get all that out. But from far away, like this is looking pretty cool. For the, yeah, you know. Yeah, oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I like it.
I'm really into rocks, and I'm really into crystals.
I really like this. I want to do more work like this, like more realistic type shit, but normally I'm using the like video game engine because I'm making animations. And so like this is going to take like 5 minutes for just this image, when for animations I like to be under 10 seconds per frame, unless it's like I don't know, something that I need to be like really, really detailed. But for 3D animations, I like it when they look a little more cartoony or like more uncanny valley, you know, where it just kind of looks fucked up and dumb. But when you're doing stills, you can afford to, you know, let it render overnight or something. And so I like what we've done with the depth of field here, putting it in the middle, so the crystals in the middle are in focus. The stuff behind and the one coming straight at us isn't in focus. Got a lot of detail on the rock here. And we kind of faked the bump mapping on the rock as well. We could actually make that like with a displacement map. But again, we're looking at more render time if we do that. I think this is looking it's looking all right. So in an ideal world, we would have some of our scratches and stuff on this side because we can view these. Yeah, you can output to an open EXR, which is like raw, or you can just blast out PNGs. You can blast out video files too, but I usually do the EXR thing so I can edit it more later. I love Uncanny Valley stuff. It is the best. Do you remember when that Final Fantasy movie came out in like 2000? I thought that looked so real at the time, but it was like super creepy. Or like Polar Express is like the most Uncanny Valley film I've ever seen. Yeah, definitely. You know, if you look at like Beeple or like a lot of CG artists on Instagram, most of that is coming together in Photoshop. And that makes a lot of sense. But you know, he'll render like his foreground and his background completely separately, or a lot of the times his backgrounds are just from like Adobe stock photos in the Beeple stuff, and then like a lot of his models are stuff that he made a long time ago, and he just you know, copies and pastes it. That's a big thing with 3D, like using like library 3D models is like kind of necessary. I love Cool 3D World. Yeah, they were actually, I saw a Cool 3D World video in like 2014, and that made me want to get into 3D stuff, but I didn't start messing around with it for like a couple years after that, and then I didn't get a decent PC until just like a year ago. So I was like using a MacBook to try to do 3D shit for a while, and that's just not really feasible. This would take all night on like a MacBook Pro. But yeah, I love Cool 3D World. I do want to make stuff. I want to make more 3D animations, but I'm waiting to like buy some stuff for it, and then I'm also just like really busy right now with my job and stuff, but we'll get back to it. We have plans for more 3D animations pretty soon. So yeah. Hey, for an hour's work, we got something. I like this part. That looks cool, you know? And then like the whole volumetric background, the fog and stuff, that's, hey, pretty cool. I was messing with some Autodesk Fusion 360, so some of these concepts I've seen before. Might try at some point. We need more modelers and stuff for our game. Uncanny Cringe 3D shit is my favorite, which is why I was stoked to find this channel. Yeah, thanks. I love weird 3D shit. It's the best. I've talked a lot about it on the stream, but I'll tell you why. Yeah, Surreal Chemist, I'll make shit for the game. I mean, here and there, you know, we can make some funny assets. So here's what we've ended up with, which is pretty nice for, you know, what we did. So now let's do it in the real-time engine and see how long that takes. And we can look at the differences as well. Let me just make sure the settings are all good. Volumetrics, let's make that better. Shadows. So I didn't remember how long that last render took. But in the video game engine, it just took about 2 seconds. And it looks pretty decent. I mean, we'd have to mess with the colors of stuff a little bit. But yeah, streaming does let you make content while making content. And I need to stream more while I make 3D animations. Absolutely. So yeah, using the real-time engine, you know, it's just like a million times faster. Let's fucking blow this shit out. And add that glow. That glow's nice. Let's blast. Let's blast again. Real-time render, 3 seconds. Oh, blue, blue, blue. You know, and like that looks fine to me. For like if I was making an animation and I can get this in 3 seconds, I can do all kinds of shit, you know. Definitely looks cartoonier, but I want to start messing around with some like video synthesis shit. I heard about this program called like Cathodimer or something like that. I want to mess with that. Here, I'm just gonna put Chopo back in back of this real quick, and I just gotta find it in my files. In my files. Ugh. Ooh. Here we go. It's a chope. Ooh. 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 Now we're just having fun. You feel me? What should we do? Where should we put the chope? There's a bunch of live visuals programming shit. There's like pure data. You can use Max MSP. There's one called P5 Live that is more like a live coding thing, which I'm into. Yeah, there's a ton of that stuff. But this Cathodimer one looks pretty fun and like pretty easy, and like I wouldn't have to do much to learn. You can just doink around. And I love to doink. Say what you want about my grades. I love to doink. Chopo could be there. Maybe Chopo should be bigger. He lost his headlamp. That's a rigging issue that I don't feel like messing with right now. Ooh, ooh, yeah. I love piano jazz. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yes, indeed. Later on, later on. Ooh. Ooh, yeah. I think that's good. I think we like this. You can get a different angle on it. Bing, bong, bong, bong. Let's maybe rotate this. So he's just munching one. Out of focus in the background, munching one. Or should we put him in focus here? Nah, definitely out of focus. He's clipping through his shirt, and one of his arms is out straight. But there we go. Munching a crystal. Obviously, we've got problems here with crystals clipping into each other. There's ways to stop that. Got to use this, like, these clumping settings I didn't feel like setting up. But this is what we've made. And I'm proud of it. Yeah, man. Gotta watch out when your cat is eating selenite. Thank you for joining me today. Actually, you know what? We can make these crystals fucking look better. This is another thing about working on this shit. You just keep going and it's a fucking mess. And you lose all your time to it. But right now, I've got time to lose. Here we go. Let's change these fucking colors. I think they need to be... Maybe this is a roughness issue. It looks like gushers. This looks like fruity gushers to me. Not a roughness issue. I think perhaps in the EV engine, this kind of stuff needs to be on the transmission. Oh, actually, I know what's up. Gotta change the settings. Blend mode. Alpha blend. Shadow mode. Alpha hashed, I think. Alpha clip. Ooh, yeah. we can like stylize this more too. Let's make the alpha on these a little different. So if you go shader, mix shader, shader, transparent shader, mix them. Right, so now they're like partially transparent. Let's go to our input Fresnel, or actually rather input layer weight. Put in a Fresnel value. Just gonna make these like partially transparent for fun, I guess. Actually, fuck that. Let's make them light up. Ooh. Yeah, do something more like that. Make that look much more cartoony. Kind of fun. Love that. Ooh, yeah. I think like lighting in this engine works different in many ways. One of them being that you can't just set an emission shader. I think I actually would have to change this to a principled. Has the same color, and then you gotta like bump the emission up here. I think that's how it works. You know, but using this Fresnel layer weight thing, only part of it is lighting up. So like here, like just the center is lighting up, but we can reverse that. Kind of just want like the outer parts to be lighting up. Either way is cool. But you know, it's fun to make shit look cartoony. Got some kind of error here. Whatever. Looks cool. I left the crystals on. You can do that too. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for
Joining me tonight.
And a big blast to you.
And a big bless to you. And a big bless to your families. And your pets. This has been a
Wonder lesson. With mine, Chobo.
I'll see you on Monday, everybody.
Oh.